Good evening. Welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It is a Talktown special, and Steve's not here, but he's still giving us a headline. Terriers lose in lacklustre display at Wigan. It finished Huddersfield Town 0, Wigan Athletic 1. And Callum, number one, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very, very good. Bit worse after watching the football this weekend, but we go again, as they say in the modern game.
We absolutely do go again. Okay, let's just get straight into it. It's going to be a bit of a sharp podcast tonight. There's just me and thee. Others cannot make it. So if you are joining us, thank you very much. Evening to you, Paul. New picture up there for you, pal. Loving that one in your town third away kit from last year. It looks absolutely fantastic, mate. So thank you for, of course, joining in as always. Always get your comments in. Let us know what you thought about the game yesterday. Is there anything you would have changed? What would you like to see in the future? Something that me and Carl will certainly read out, and we might go through that as well. Jed says, "Good morning, boys." Well, morning to you, Jed, and evening from us, of course, over here in the UK. Jed is over on Bondi. Is it? What's it like over there? Is it coming towards the back end of the summer now, I believe, over in Australia? So, of course, the main event, Wigan 1, Huddersfield Town 0. This is how we saw Huddersfield Town line up. Reverted to his back three. This was a question that we had at the end of last podcast. Would we have stuck with going to a 4-2-3-1 like he changed for the second half against Barnsley, or would you go back to the back three? We all agreed that we'd pretty much go to change the formation. Liam Manning went to his back three, which had Sean Rowan, Murray Wallace, and Radinho Balker across the back three. Nichols was in goal. Sorensen and Mumba, the two wing backs. Humphries and Ledson were sitting in midfield. Ryan Hardy started up front, and Alfie May and Marcus Harness were just playing off him. Jed said also it's humid, so I think Australia's always humid. I remember when I was on there, when I was over. Can't remember the time of year. It was very humid, but I went to Sydney. Anyway, enough about me and my boring stories. Cal, that was a lineup. Obviously, we discussed last week, would we have preferred to see the change of formation from the start? Oliver, of course, being Oliver, always positive, trying to find things, and how he thought Liam Manning would stick with the three at the back. So that's how he goes. And what did you make of that?
Before a ball is kicked, it's very easy to look at the way that you expect them to come out, and we expect a team to play. And given the formation, you expect them, not only because of the formation, but because of the form, the opposition, and the way that the opposition is set up so far, you almost expect them to be ever present from the off and go after the man and take the game to him, because that's what you want to do when you're away from home, playing somebody that's further down the division. And I've said this so many times, with the squad that we've got, you need to be getting at them, and you need to be imposing that sort of dominance that we should have early doors. Did we see that? No, we didn't. We sat off again. We allowed them to play the ball again, get themselves comfortable in possession, allowed them to build their momentum, and we didn't look to build any at all.
But again, let's just try and stick to that, the starting line of that shape. Is that because of that, Cal?
I mean, I'd say so, because you're always looking for, if you're trying to press and you're looking at who your man is and who you're picking up, the shape dictates where you end up on the pitch. So if we're going off the shape and the way that they were set up and the way that the group moves off the ball as well as on it, those players will have been drilled to look out for a certain player or a certain man to pick up, and he will do X, Y, and Z and make this run, etc. What appears to have happened is that we've said, well, you pick up your man, but they're not going to do anything because they're Wigan and they're down in the doldrums of League One. They're not going to, you can allow them to just have the space. and they're not going to do anything with it. But what we seem to have forgotten is that the more you allow teams, especially at home, to keep the ball and move the ball, the more likely they are to move the ball up the pitch and be able to cut out the players that are trying to press them when they are trying to press them. Let's not forget, we've played that system before. Huddersfield Town have been on the other side of that, where we have had all of the ball and we've moved the ball up the pitch and we've won. And we've scored goals and we've looked great. We've played that system before. We're now playing some sort of anti-football. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because obviously when Liam Manning first came in and we saw this lineup and we saw this system, and we were going a bit, well, it is a little bit different to what we've seen under Lee Grant. So let's give it a chance. Now, the first game, it looks good. Town went down to 10 men. Forget about the system anymore. The second game, system looked good. Town went down to 10 men. Forget about the system anymore. And then gradually, that system where we saw the high press and that fast tempo of football that the fans wanted to see, it's slowed down, hasn't it? Is that because we're not playing with 10 men anymore?
I don't know what the most annoying thing about it is that I can't point to a single reason as to why we've either reverted or we've moved away from it, because it worked and the results showed that it worked. So why would you stop doing the things that you were doing? Because we clearly have. We've clearly tweaked one or two things that aren't working, but for some reason we persist. My biggest bugbear, and I said it on here so many times with Lee Grant, was that there was no plan B. And we started the game with plan A, and if plan A didn't work, we lost the game. Now, you tell me how yesterday is any different to that, because you could tell after the first half, yes, we grew into the game and we got a bit more on the ball, but we were doing the sort of the thing that's become synonymous with Huddersfield Town at the moment, that you'll get the ball and you'll get in good positions, and then one misplaced pass and they get the ball back, or it goes out of play, or we're just not switched on enough to be able to complete the move.
It does seem it's becoming a little bit sloppy into it in that final third. That the last pass is quite not there. It's just a little bit behind, or it's getting there a little bit slow. Carl, I'm going to come up with some comments here from our viewers. So thank you very much to them. John, I think this is a positive one. I won't be saying you like what I have to say on H3D, so I appreciate that one. Paul, think that's the worst game I've seen yesterday. They didn't turn up. I thought we would be up for it with Harry Stein, but it was lacklustre, and Alfie May was dreadful yesterday. Dale Mellor says, after yesterday's performance, my positivity has gone. That was as bad as anything I've watched all season. Phil says, looked like a team of individuals, so strange to watch. Our midfield was non-existent yesterday, says Paul yesterday. I said yesterday too many times there. Too many misplaced passes in the middle, no attacking threat. Jed says, it's not as if we can't do it. Was it the new manager bounce? Also, we've got John saying, evening, lads. How have we managed to turn one of League One's best goal scorers into a complete recluse, which we've seemed to have managed to do with Alfie May? I want your reaction to the comments that we've had in, Cal, and then the first half. Town hit the post. They've hit the woodwork. They did create a couple of chances, just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net either.
It's a classic time. I mean, the comments are excellent, and I'm happy there's so many, as always, because it keeps us on his toes. But yeah, look, I think for me, Phil, is it Phil Jean?
This one,
that one, that's sort of spot on, that, because they do and have all season look like a team of individuals, players that think they're too good for this level, and it doesn't matter how many coaches you bring in and how many conversations you can have with them. If a player's got that mindset, you're never going to change it. But what's mind-blowing about that is that the players have that mindset and they put in a performance like they did yesterday. And I don't understand how you can still walk around thinking that, because it's obvious that they do, and we've got that mindset. And, you know, we can sit here and At the same time, I don't know if, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, fans will remember, Sorba Thomas had the same attitude and a similar issue and would walk around like he was, king of Huddersfield Town and then not deliver on the pitch. And you thought, right, you can't have one and not the other. They are individuals who may be unhappy with the club or the system or what they're being asked to do. And I suspect, and I can't back this up, and it's entirely unfounded, but I suspect that the reason we're seeing these performances out of players who we know can play better, should be playing better, and frankly, their wage and value demands that they do play better, is because it's almost like a protest vote. It's almost like saying, well, if you're going to make me play this system, I'm not going to play it properly. I'm not going to deliver that final pass. I'm going to be 3 or 4 yards away from where I ought to be.
All right. So if that's the case, we're obviously not saying it is. This is all opinions and up in the air. We don't know the ins and outs, do we? But if that is the case, who needs to pinpoint that? Who needs to solve that? And who needs to action it? Does that come from the coaches, the players, the managers, the director of football, or sporting director, or CEO, chairman? Because fans seem to see this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that there's a whole culture that's been built into the football club because we've had things happen where, let's not forget we've got an owner that came out onto a public forum and said last season or the season before that finishing within anything but the top 2 was unacceptable. We then didn't finish in the top 2, but not only that, we didn't finish in the top 6. So if the top 2 is unacceptable, what is 9th? And you set that culture up and you set this, what you perceive to be a winning mentality, but nobody sees the other side of the winning mentality when you're not winning and the effect that it has. And for a long time, Huddersfield Town have been not winning. And we've not been a successful football club, if you sort of see it that way. We've not been, even in League One, we've not been at the upper sort of echelons of the table, swaggering about like we own the place, which because of the expectations set, everybody thinks we should be. And it's not worked out like that. And now what you're seeing is a reaction to the expectations not going the way they should have done. And that reaction is being felt from the fans, from the players, probably from the management, certainly from Lee Grant. He's certainly feeling the brunt of those expectations, because if you can't get the results expected out of this team, you're going to feel that. But you won't get the results expected out of this team when the expectations are sky high.
So it's an expectation thing then? Is that kind of
expectations that have fed into a culture?
So what is the culture then? What do you see the culture as right now?
I see a very disjointed and it's hard to find the right word because I don't want to say lacklustre because they're not. They're good footballers. And Ryan Manning? Liam Manning has shown that he's a good manager and he's got good coaches. Lee Grant might not have been a good manager, but he had good coaches. And they had the same good players. And players that have performed elsewhere have come here and they've stagnated, like we've said about Alfie May. The best striker in League One has become a recluse and stagnated because I believe of this pressure and this culture that brings this pressure that you have to perform at your very best. And if you don't, everybody's on you and it's all your fault.
So it's the pressure that could be an issue.
And set by the chairman, those that work for the chairman, and the constant chanting this mantra that we are the best or we should be up there and we deserve to be up there. Nobody deserves to be up there. You've got to work for it. And we've got a group of players that are not putting in the graft because they believe they should be up there rather than fighting to be up there.
Okay, I'm just trying to dissect parts.
Got a bit giddy then, lad. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just trying to dissect the parts of what you're saying here, because we've gone from some great comments. We spoke about a shape. We've not even really touched the fact that Town created some chances in the first half against Wigan. Yeah,
I mean, you look at the stats of the game again. Town were on top. They had more of the ball. They had more passes, more time in Wigan's half. Everything.
But and then we've gone on to culture. We've gone on to why the players might not be performing and trying to pinpoint that. And if fans can see it, who else can see it, and the way it goes. And I think we can end up going around in circles here.
Yeah, I think the reason we arrived at it is yes, we want to talk about the games and the individual performances, but they are symptomatic of a wider problem.
Yeah, and you see that wider problem as a culture thing right now.
Yeah, 100%, because it can't be Lee Grant because the same problems are happening. But it can't be this squad because these problems have been happening. They were happening last season, and to a certain extent they were happening the season before. So it has to be an overall culture thing, because it doesn't matter what players you bring in, they seem to make the same mistakes.
But we're not really seeing much of a change of shape in the last few seasons.
No, but we have seen a change in style of coaching and management. And therefore, the way that you set your shape up and what you ask people to do will have been different.
Yeah, but it's not been too different, has it?
Not on the face of it.
No.
Not looking at it.
No.
However, the roles in that shape may be different. I do agree with you in that the system needs changing, and we have played the same system roughly, but I don't see potentially how it can just be the system.
I mean, it's not always just that, is it? There's I think you look at, I don't know if you've seen a recent podcast with the overlap, Neville, Wright, Keane, Carragher, and they have Ange Postecoglou in there.
Oh.
And he's talking about Ange Postecoglou.
Nice.
Yeah. Close enough.
We'll go with it.
Big Ange.
Yeah, that's better.
Big Ange. And he's talking about Spurs, and it's the dare to do everywhere going around. And he's saying about this culture of that's what Spurs is, and dare to do, and how does that work? So I totally get your point. I totally get your point, and I think it's interesting what our viewers think. Do you think it's a culture issue as well? Let's go through a few more comments, Cal. Yeah. Let's talk about the chances in the first half, because there is a game to talk about as well. But there's also, it's the bigger picture of the game, isn't it? I think that is the main concern for a lot of fans at the moment, is the bigger picture of the game.
And I think that fuels a lot of the reaction when you go on social media and you look at, and people are furious, and I was furious. But it's not just because we've lost at Wigan.
No, it does seem as if it's like there's a bit of a vicious circle going on where the performances have dropped again, and it drops again, and it's now at a level where you're thinking, hold on a minute. As you mentioned, Carl, these are our expectations that have been set. These are the players that we've brought in. These are the wages. These are this and that. We should be up here. So the expectation is high, but why are we not getting the return on everything else that gets put in? And I think we've mentioned it on the show before. I know I certainly have, in terms of each fan has a different way they want to see their team play. And it varies from club to club. It varies from fan to fan. For me, I just want to see high press, high tempo, and a bit of go forward with the directness in terms of what I would call directness is getting in the opposition half. That's not talking about a long ball. That's just been moving the ball fast, getting the ball into the area. For me, if I saw my team do that every week and they lost the game, fine. They put the performance in, something I can get on board with, fine. It's when the fact is, I think it's when we don't see that, when that's what Town fans have enjoyed over, let's say, over 10-year periods, the most or the best football Town experience, or the most successful, was when it was like that under two specific coaches. Anyway, we can keep going on about that. Let's have a few more comments that's getting put in. Jed says, Championship players in League One, is that a problem? Well, Jed, first of all, what I'd say to that is they're in League One. So not a Championship player. I'll let Cal talk about that one as well. At the day we lost Loney Leo Castledine, the confidence with the odd exception is completely drained from this squad. We've never carried the same attacking threat without him in the side, says John. I think they have given me up. They didn't look bothered. Playoffs gone now. We're in a false position with teams behind us, breathing down our necks, all games in hand, says Paul. We're going to be in League One for a long time if we keep playing like this, says Ross. At least says, sorry, lads, you stay in third division club. Yeah, cheers, Lee. Appreciate that.
Wrong.
Yeah. Phil says, if we accept the playoffs are now gone, will that help expectations and reduce the pressure from the fan base? South Stand, what is your expectations now, not at the beginning of the season? We have no consistency at all, says Paul. It's not hard to please us Town fans. Just put 100% effort in and play on the front foot. Then win, lose or draw. We cheer on the team for 90 minutes and plumb off the pitch. Del, 100% could agree with you more. When they scored, heads went straight down and never looked like scoring, especially bringing on Charles. Cal, anything you want to go on there? I think I like this one from Phil, actually.
Yeah.
If we accept the playoffs are gone now, which we shouldn't, and this is something I'm going to come back to. I'm going to come back to this one in terms of why we shouldn't. So I'll let Cal speak first. But our expectations now, Cal, do they change?
Mine have. I don't know whether subconsciously they'll change or you'll make a conscious decision to change your expectations. But I wouldn't have had, and this goes back to what I was saying before, and I am a bit of a broken record with it, but I don't think I would have had the expectations that I've had since we've been in League One, had it not been predicated on the fact that we were sold this line that we were going to spend, and we have spent. We've absolutely spent money, evidently on the wrong players, but we have spent money. I don't think I'd have had such a grandiose expectation had we not been sold the dream that we were going to absolutely walk the league. So, for me, playoffs are gone. Playoffs have gone. I don't want to get in them because what happens if we do a Huddersfield Town and we get in the playoffs and we win the playoffs? What does next season look like? Because we don't have the money to overhaul the squad to the extent that it needs to stay in the Championship. It's just going to be another awful season. So my expectations are that we stay mid-table-ish, maybe finish 9th, 8th. And my hope, this is not an expectation, but my hope is that we have a real proper, not the sort of half-baked sort out that we tried to have in the summer just gone. We have a real, proper, hard reset, and a whole lot of people have their expectations challenged because reality has set in now. We are a League One club. We will be a League One club for a very long time because we deserve to be a League One club based on the decisions that have been made on and off the football pitch.
What decisions are those?
The decisions to appoint, leave in post and sack evidently poor management, the decisions to hire leaving post and then sack evidently poor executives, coaches, directors of football, naming no names, the decisions to sign players that are evidently below par or below fitness expectations, and hope that we can just get them back up to where we need them to be. And having an owner that once again sets the bar so impossibly high that everybody's trying to live up to the expectation that they can't ever quite reach.
Is it too high though?
It is. I mean, yes. Did you really? Honestly, did you think that we were a top 1 or 2 side at any point in the last 2 seasons?
I think they should have been. Yeah, I think they should have been. I'm not saying they were. I think they should have been.
I'm not sure that we had either the squad depth, quality of coaches or players to have ever been.
Well,
that was the expectation that was set.
Well, this is the argument, though, isn't it? This is the opinions based on football, and this is what the fantastic thing is, Cal, because arguably, yeah, I do believe that. I believe that the team, the players that the Huddersfield Town have got, yeah, the team, the squad, the group, I do believe that they're good enough to go and win the league. I do. I think the stuff that they do off the field, behind the scenes, they've got a good training facility. You have analysis, academies, chefs, physios, masseuse. There's nothing that should stop them from going and being that top 2, that top 1. The thing that does for me is shape and formation. That for me, that is the biggest thing, and that's where I think we've missed out, because I can't remember a team winning something with 3 at the back. I just can't. It's not for me. It's not my preference, but everyone's preference is different, and this is why we have managers who go and play different formations. Yeah. This is why we've because football's about opinions, and that's what I love about it. But my preference, whenever I've coached, I've played 3 at the back, but not the system that played at Huddersfield Town. It's a different one. And it wouldn't be my go-to. It also depend on what players are available for me at the time. But we're talking about a professional club here that has 20-odd players on its books. Okay, then there's injuries. It's got another 20-odd players in its academy, and then another 20-odd players in its second side in the academy. There's enough there. There is enough to go and be at the top for me. There is enough. But again,
so what's missing in terms of they've got everything that they need, but they're playing in the wrong system.
Yeah.
And it's for me, yeah. And I appreciate that sounds really, really simplistic and a bit horrible. And I don't disagree. However, I also don't think you need all of those things that you named. I don't think any of those things set you up to be a top football team, because Bradford, am I right in thinking they don't have their own training ground?
Well, they have a training ground, but it's shared with a private school, yeah.
Yeah. Lincoln, the facilities at Lincoln will be miles away from what they are at Huddersfield Town in terms of academy, what we've got at Canalside, the technology and things like that. Yet the consistency is there. So Cardiff, I would put us on a par with in terms of what they've got and what we've got, but I would arguably say that our academy is maybe a step above theirs, given the investment that's gone into it in recent times that Cardiff haven't had. But it counts for nothing when the people that are coming in are having their legs cut off by the decisions that are being made.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
All new boiler. Don't forget that. New boiler.
Yeah, for me, but they're little 1%ers that you get. They're the little 1%ers that help you. They're the little 1%ers that gets you a little bit further.
But they're not helping.
They're not, yeah, but for me, them little 1%ers might make 20% for a shape that I believe in.
Yeah. And like I said, I at no point have I disagreed with what you said. I also think we're playing in the wrong shape, and we're doing a little bit too much of the square pegs in round holes, but in a way that it's not so evident and obvious. And you know, there is a football game to talk about where Alfie May was the biggest square peg in the biggest, roundest hole possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so if we get back to the first half, half an hour in and we barely spoke about it. Alfie May was signed as the number 9 to partner Joe Taylor, either one or the other. We're now seeing Alfie May play this behind the striker role and basically played as a left winger yesterday, when we've also got Ballymummer, a right-footed right back, playing in the left wing back role. They're the kind of things that you're talking about there, Cal, right?
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
I've thought about this and thought about and at one point we could have blamed it on injuries and lack of squad depth, and now I'm not sure what we can blame it on. And blame is the right word, because I don't know anybody that would look at the CV of a player like Alfie May and go, "Yeah, we won't put that striker up front. We'll shift him out and play him behind somebody else." That really prolific 20 goal a season striker that has been that prolific for the last 3 or 4 years. We won't put him where he's naturally gifted and wants to play. We'll put him somewhere else. I don't know who would make that decision and for what reason.
Could Alfie be putting his hand up and saying, "I think I'd be better in just behind the striker"? Do you think that might be?
I can't see it. I don't know. I'm not, unfortunately, not a fly on the wall in the dressing room or the training ground. However, I can't see it, given his very natural and very obvious talent at being a talisman.
Being able to put the ball in the back of the net.
And I don't think he's played in that position at any of the clubs that came before. So why all of a sudden when he arrives in West Yorkshire is he going to put his hand up and go, "Actually, I fancy being a left winger or a centre attacking midfielder"?
Yeah. Let's go through a few more comments, Cal. Also, we've basically touched on the first half now. Essentially, you know, we had a couple of chances. Second half comes along. There's a bit of change, but the damage had kind of already been done, hadn't it? The Town had been on the back foot for the majority of that first half, and it was it a case going into the second half, Town were going to get what was coming, or could you have seen it turn around?
Not after watching. I think you could see the way it was going after the first sort of 5 minutes of the second half. They came out with the bit between their teeth because we'd allowed them to have the ball and build up that momentum. And they didn't want half time. I wouldn't have said. They didn't want. We were crying out for half time. They didn't want it. And they were desperate to keep that momentum going, and we allowed them to.
So, a couple of comments coming in here, and then we can talk about, because there's a comment that's Ian just put in that is put in nicely for us to move on to before we can have a bit more conversation about some other stuff. Mike says, Hardy could ignite our run if he's fully match fit. We had 6 points on Stevenage, etc. Now it's now down to 1 point. If they're going to make the playoffs, they need to put a monster run in, but I can't see it happening. We need 7 wins from 11 remaining games. Simple as, unfortunately, that looks a dream. Cal, I think thank you for your honest answer to my question.
Nice.
Ash, you're leaving. Hope that's false news. That that's a losing mentality that creeps back into our games. Phil, we see he's out of contract at the end of the season, so he's a young lad, so Town would get some compensation for it. But I understand that you don't want him to go. This all costs money, and how long will Nagel keep pouring money down the drain? It will stop at some point. Dirty we have a talented individuals for this level, but they seem to be playing as individuals, not a team. Bizarre what's going on at this club. Wrong tactics, boring, no intent to attacking. And then Ian's also mentioned 11 defenders defending corners. Crazy. Now, Cal, 11 defenders, including the goalkeeper, defending corners, and twice within 2 minutes, the same man gets a free header in the same spot, and the second time it leads to a goal.
3 contacts of the ball from that set piece. 3 contacts of the ball when there's 11 men in the box. Now, that tells me that whatever questions and debates about shape and formation you want to throw out there, that's fine. But from a set piece situation, every professional footballer should know where they are, who they're picking up, where they need to be. And that shows a lack of concentration, a lack of awareness, and potentially a real lack of care. Because how, if you are desperate to get 3 points and you're aware of the situation the club are in and how important 3 points would be, how are you allowing an attacking player to have 3 contacts of the ball, one of which being a shot that results in a goal, inside or just outside a box with 11 players in it? How does that happen?
It's disappointing, isn't it? I mean, what's your thoughts on all 11 players being back inside the area? Would you prefer 1 or 2 players outside of it, one up front, one on the edges, or?
Yeah. Because I think if you put 11 players into the box, it gives them the opportunity to come straight back at you, because there isn't an outlet for the ball being cleared. The ball is cleared, it then goes straight back to Wigan and they float it back in. Whereas if you've got 2 men up there, they can at least challenge for the ball and try and break on some sort of counter-attack. 11 men in the box for a corner is something you might expect to see in the 89th minute when you're 1-0 up defending a lead. Not in the 61st minute when you're 0-0 Wigan away trying to get 3 points.
No. So let's finish talking about again. That's it now. Town lost 1-0. Now, there's a point that I was going to make earlier, and I'm glad what you've just mentioned there. You're talking about playing Wigan away, and it's no disrespect to Wigan when I come across and say this, but we're talking about Huddersfield Town here, who, again, expectations are high. Players that are being brought in are very good level for the league, decent wages, etc., etc., etc. What they've got, facilities-wise, it's up there. Where's the arrogance of going away to teams and going, we're not going to let you play today? Where's that? Where's that fine line between arrogance and confidence, where we're seeing this Huddersfield Town team who've got cracking individuals and cracking everything else about them going, you're going to be playing on our terms today, not yours. We're playing on our terms. We're coming to your place and we're going to play the football that we want to play. That ain't happening. Where is that? Because that's the kind of town that I want to see. At the moment, where it just seems as if we're going to places and going, well, it's your home. We'll take his shoes off. Don't worry about it. We'll clean up after ourselves. We won't make a mess. We'll sit in the corner. We'll be quiet. Forget that. Where's the arrogance? Where's the confidence? This is the kind of, we talk about culture and stuff earlier, Cal, and now this brings us back to it because we kind of spoke about the game now. Maybe that's something that we're missing.
Yeah,
I feel as if that's what's missing. I want to go away to Wigan. I don't care if it's Wigan. I don't care if it's Burton. I don't care if it's Northampton. I don't care if it's Lincoln, Cardiff, Bradford. You want to go to these clubs and go, we're in town. This is how we're playing. Deal with it. Well, at the moment, I feel it's a bit of the other way around.
Yeah, it is, because we allow them so much time on the ball that you don't allow yourself to get a foothold in the game to be able to take that game to the opposition, and that's why I agree with you on the shape argument, because if you were set up in a shape that allowed for more outlets, it would mean that you were able to move the ball faster, and if you move the ball faster, you're able to keep the home side off the ball. If you keep the home side off the ball, you are then playing that sort of dominant, we're here and we're here for 3 points sort of football. I've seen us play it under David Wagner at Wigan away. We played it. It was superb. And we were awful that game.
It was terrible.
Awful that game, but we played on the front foot, and eventually it bore fruit. Natty Wells last minute.
Yeah, an awful save, but he followed it up.
Exactly. But it's playing on the front foot and making those decisions and being in the right place at the right time. And I'm very happy about that up to be fair, because it ties up everything that we've been saying. That is a problem with the shape, but it's also a problem with the culture and a problem with the arrogance of individuals.
Because, and again, this is where I'm talking about an arrogance that I want to see, is because I'm having a conversation with someone, I think it might have been today, actually, it could have been yesterday, about the standard of football in League One. Oh, across the board, it's pretty poor.
Yeah,
it's pretty poor.
It's not a good quality of football at all. The amount of times I've stood in the South Stand and watched the game that's going on in front of us and sort of just leaned into my mate and gone, God, this is awful.
Yeah.
These are terrible.
Exactly. So why are we giving players like that more time and space?
Because we lack the ability to judge teams coming to play us on an individual basis, because these players have been coached into a certain system. Don't worry, I'm going there. That is a sort of one size fits all, but it doesn't.
But that's my point, though, isn't it, Cal? Where's the arrogance?
Exactly. We don't have any, because when you're a team of individuals, one thing you could have never said about that Wagner team that went to Wigan, that sounds like a nursery rhyme, that they were individuals playing in a town shirt, but they were all individuals. No, that was a team. That was a proper team playing for each other. And that's what's missing, because they're all individuals playing for themselves that, rightly or wrongly, they've dropped into League One, and that's where we get the Championship players in League One argument. They are League One players, but they won't think like that. They'll think they're still Championship players. And say, oh, well, I've dropped into League One, rather than being forced into League One because of your standard of ability.
Talking about, let's have a look at some of these other ones. Paul says, Alphamere was playing deeper than Olympic swimming pool yesterday, needs to stay up front. We have a knack of making poor teams look so good. Beans and cheese, up the Chelsea. Yeah, I'm not too sure on that comment. We'll leave on that one. We haven't had that mentality since Wagner's in Cobra years. The coaches argue with that 2 players on the halfway line, the opposition attacking team have more space to attack from corners, even if they drop 2 or 3 players back. But you know what? If you're gonna concede from a corner, you're gonna concede from a corner, aren't you?
They had all the space they needed anyway, evidently.
And they're not always gonna. If you manage to clear it, at least you got someone to hold the ball up. That's my argument. Anyway, I completely get your point though, Dale. I think it's a great point, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Ian says, Wagner knew the balance, when to attack, when to defend. I want to see Town wallop a Burton or a Leighton Orient type team. score, and keep going. I think that's what everyone wants to see, Paul. But that kind of willingness to just keep at the opposition, just keep going. Forget about giving them time and space. Just at them. We haven't been able to adapt to League One football. Luton are having the same problem. League One is a different animal. Cal, we've got a game coming up next week. It's another Yorkshire derby. And I nearly said what Steve would usually say, but I'm going to try and be a bit more... I'm going to use a better word than crap. They're absolutely dreadful, Rotherham. They are awful. Again, this is what we're talking about, the quality of teams in League One at the moment. Rotherham are horrendous. And I feel for their fans. I really do. And this is a point. This is a great chance for Liam Manning now, who's on 8 games, because we don't judge until 10 games. He's on a great chance to go, right, I've just seen what's happened last few. Got another Yorkshire derby against a really bad, down in the dumps Rotherham team. Let's go at them. This would be a great opportunity for him. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. So you've based on previous games against teams down there, we are either going to play them off the park because we've got good form against Rotherham this season. We won 3-1 away from home. We beat Port Vale 5-0. Or we have a game like Northampton away.
Yep, or Burton away, or
exactly.
Wigan away.
We've got form for either because we're so inconsistent. So I don't know what Huddersfield Town team are going to go out against Rotherham. It's an early kickoff, isn't it?
It's an early kickoff. It's 12:30.
Is it on telly?
It's on telly as well. The game will definitely be on, regardless of whatever, because Sky will be putting the coverings on over the pitch to make sure it's on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, make sure it's on. It's a funny thing, in it, when you know we've got so many people involved in football who believe they know stuff, and we have professionals get paid to do it, and we have podcasts popping up everywhere, and all these opinions and that kind of stuff, Cal. But how much do you really think that football clubs or managers take into consideration what fans might say or might do?
I don't know. At most clubs, they probably don't, but at Huddersfield Town, it seems that they won't for a long time, and then they'll suddenly turn around and go, "Oh, we need to shift some season tickets this season." Then we will start immediately listening to every reactive fan that we've got and make decisions as such.
But managers specifically.
I mean, I don't think a good manager should. However, I think that some managers probably do more than they should. You always get the cliche that they try and shut out the outside noise, and there's lots of, that's a very Lee Grantism, that we shut out the noise outside and we focus on only what we've got to do as a group and what we're doing. But evidently you're going to look at the noise outside, and you're going to hear some of the noise outside because it's getting louder and louder.
Do you think sometimes it might be good for managers, and you know, this is just in broader question, for them to actually listen to what the fans want?
I mean, yes, that would be, in an ideal world, they'd listen to everything that I had to say and implement it as exactly I say.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously, because, yeah, you see my Football Manager CV. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, it is fantastic.
Superb, but that doesn't happen. I do think managers would benefit from having that open dialogue in one form or another with fans and supporters, but I see why not, because it can go the other way, and you just start getting lots of abuse from people like me. So yes, I would like it. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But I don't actually believe that's detrimental to the football club if they don't.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Sorry, I just had some to had an itch.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just an interesting one because obviously Huddersfield Town have multiple podcasts going on now about the club, and it's interesting to what everybody feels as if they know what formation should be played or how they should do this and how they should do that, and it just intrigues me how much a manager would actually take that into consideration because fans, whether people like it or not, they probably know more than what people think, and it's just an interesting one because obviously we've got some great comments in here at the moment, and we're going to go through them in just a moment because we all have an idea of what we want to see against Rotherham at the weekend.
Nice.
And I think, and everyone's.
I see what you're doing here. This is really good.
What am I doing here?
You're going to segue into the comment that I've just seen.
I don't know. We'll see in a moment. Oh yeah. I was going to that. Yeah, but this is the point because we've all got obviously different ideas, different opinions, and every single one of us on here might have something different to say of what we want to see, and I think that's one of the beauties, which I think Cal obviously interrupted me halfway through, but I was going to come to this from Paul. Question for you, Cal. What formation do you think we should play against Rotherham?
Don't ask me. I don't get paid. Joking. I'm only joking.
All right, no, we can move on. Well, we can move on.
I'd like to see two up top again.
Okay.
I'd like to see a 4-4-2. To be honest with
you. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a 4-4-2. 4 at the back, shoring up the defence. 2 up top. 1 is the option. 1 is the outlet. I don't think that's the system that we've played nearly enough for the success that we've had with it.
Okay. But this is the beauty because, Paul, what formation would you play? And Dale and John and Ian, what formation would you play? This is the beauty. Obviously, open question to me as well. I appreciate that, Paul. I would play 4-2-3-1.
That's really good. That's like a politician.
Yeah, or 4-3-3. But it's again, it's how you balance it and how you do it. But everyone, Ian said 4-4-2. This is again the beauty of it, the different changes and how people want to see the game. Yeah. But I think we can go back to what was said earlier. Where are we now? And who said it? Dale said it. It's not hard to please the Town fans. Just put 100% effort in, play on the front foot, win, lose or draw. Feel the team on. And that can come in any kind of formation. And that's a basic. And look, here we see now we've got 4-4-2. We've got 4-2-3-1. 4-4-2. That's the beauty. But what gets me is the fact that over the last 2 seasons or so, we've seen 3 at the back.
You were particularly thrilled with the 3 at the back, weren't you? In the post, during, and pre-Wigan chat.
Well, yeah, it doesn't excite me in the way it's being played at the moment because there's not enough in the final third to put the pressure on. And I think our wing. Go on.
That comment there is a very good point.
Which by John?
Yeah.
John says Rotherham beat Plymouth yesterday. Side who only 7 days earlier beat league leaders 5-2. Yeah. For me, the 3 up front, well, the 3 in the final third doesn't work for me because you're not using enough of the pitch. It's very narrow, and I feel as if the wing backs are getting confused of where they need to be. Like,
you also have players that like to play in an expansive system that have been forced into areas they're not very good in.
Yeah, Sean Rowan is a left back. He's playing left centre half. And it's quite confusing, the difference between left centre half and left back. Ballymumba is a right foot player playing left wing back. Sorensen is a right back playing right wing back. Marcus Harness. Well, where is Marcus Harness's position? First of all, is it on the right wing and then / number 10, and then it was central midfield. Now it's number 10 behind the striker. Alvin Mayer playing number 10. But most of the time on the left wing. It's one of them where, but again, formation stats wise, you look at the pitch. You've got to cover as much area of the pitch as you can in the right areas to be able to be on that front foot, which a lot of people want to see. But yeah, again, that's why if I were playing three at the back, I'd have flat three further up the field. But again, that's just me, Cal. That's just me. But anyway, enough about me. Forget about that. No one cares about what I've got to say. What else have we got in here? I bet that Liam Manning will say that they've just beaten Plymouth, so they're on a high and it'll be a really tough test. 39-year-old David McGoldrick managed a hat-trick away at another struggling club yesterday. That's one more than our whole strike force has managed the last 3 away games. What a player he is. He is a fantastic player. By the way, we are coming up to an hour, so get your predictions in for Huddersfield Town Rotherham. I want to know what people think might happen. We are so dreadful at passing the ball. I do not see how we can put our stamp on against Rotherham. The basics are dreadful. It's not abuse, Cal. It's constructive criticism. What else have we got here? This is a double banana skin match, season defining. I'm afraid, says Jed. May and Charles goal scoring is atrocious. Tells you everything. Any team can win any team in this league. It doesn't matter what system you play. If the players like Hardy are physical, able to last more than last more than an hour. Yeah. He'll get there, John. He's still coming back from injury, but I'm sure you know that one though as well. 2 teams have stepped up. Look, I think there's been some really good debates, really good conversations, really good comments tonight. So from our point of view, thank you so much for them. Callie, is there anything else that you'd like to go through while we're just having a few of these? Just coming in.
That comment there from John, doesn't matter what system you play, if players like Hardy aren't physically able, goes back and sort of rounds very nicely off what I was saying earlier. Why have we signed a player injured? Why have we signed a player injured at this point in the season? You're telling me there was nobody else available to play that position at this time of year in this division? That is poor decision making, not from the manager, not from the scouts, the assistant manager, the players on the pitch, but from the sporting director or the director of football or whoever it is that had final sign off on that decision.
Is the decision to let Joe Taylor go worse of a decision than to bring someone in who's injured?
They are both as bad as each other.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that one.
Yeah, no, they're both as bad as each other. Both terrible.
Right. Okay. Have you, before I go on to the predictions, is yours going to be positive or negative? I'm just trying to figure out if I should come to you first or our. All right. Okay. Or our viewers, because we have got some positive ones in there.
I'm very much in the Ian Nichols camp.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start with Ian then. Ian has said 2-1 to Rotherham. Put us out of our misery, says Ian. What else have we got in here? Mark, positive. Town 3. Rotherham 0. Hardy hat-trick. We love it. Phil, 2-0 to Town. I just want us to be positive. Up the Town, says Phil. Love that from you. We've already said it, Ian's. Contradicting my first comment. Lost all positivity. Town 3. Rotherham 0. Dale. Love that. That's a bit of me. Is that love the positivity? Now, Cal, bring us back down to ground zero. Wait, actually. Jed said 2 apiece. We can't defend. Okay, now bring us back to ground zero.
Nice middle ground there. That's taken us down slightly.
Yeah.
And now I'm just going to put us into a ditch when I say that I believe Rotherham United will come away the 1-0 victors.
So 1-0 to Rotherham United, says Cal. Well, we've only got 6 days to find out to what's going to happen. It's going to be a Yorkshire derby. It's an half-12 kickoff. So Huddersfield Town versus Rotherham. We'll find out if the season is still alive. Thank you very much for commenting, everybody who has commented.
Whoa. What's your prediction?
I don't do predictions anymore. Like, subscribe, share. You know the score with that one. Thank you, Cal, for joining me. Hope everyone has a fantastic week. It's been great to have so many comments. Michael says 2-1 Town. Just get that one in quickly. Steve's headline this week was Terriers lose in lacklustre display at Wigan. How very disappointing. Hey, Cal, listen to this one. Huddersfield Town 1, Rotherham United 0. Right, until next week.
Nice.